Okay, this afternoon, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sara from HealthWatch Hackney. Welcome to today's information exchange meeting on loneliness. As I said, the meeting is going to be recorded, and so you will be able to watch it or re-watch it later on our YouTube channel, where you will also be able to find all our other information exchange meetings. We are going to start with a bit of an introduction about HealthWatch Hackney, very quick, and then I will introduce our speakers and we'll get started with the session. My name is Sara Morosinotto, and I am the Interim View Manager at HealthWatch Hackney. So for those of you who don't know about HealthWatch, we are the health and social care watchdog. Essentially, we use the feedback that we collect from the public and from patients to make recommendations for improvement to service providers in the space of health and social care. We also provide the public with information about what services are available to you, how you can access these services, and we offer education meetings, of which today's is an example, so that we can educate patients on their rights so that you can make informed choices. And last but not least, we act as a bridge between patients and health and social care providers. I am now going to introduce our speakers from today. So a very warm welcome to Bridget Akinbolaji, Program Manager at Volunteer Centre Hackney. Bridget is going to kick off today by talking about loneliness and the impact that being loneliness has on our mental and physical health. Then we will hear a lived experience testimony by Janice. Hi, Janice. It's lovely to have you. Thank you for joining us. Then we're going to move on to Pauline Williamson, social prescriber Family Action. And I know that Pauline has a really good presentation with lots of ideas and things that you can do in Hackney to feel less lonely. And so welcome to Pauline.
Thank you.
And we will close by going back to Bridget, who will then talk to us about the befriending scheme and Together Better. And then if you have any questions, obviously you will have an opportunity to ask these questions directly to our speakers. So it's over to you, Bridget.
Hi guys, I'm going to share the PowerPoint presentation that I'm going to do for you today. So just bear with me a sec. It's nice that you're all here. Thank you for coming along. I'm just going to start the slideshow. Just let me know if you can all see this, because
yeah,
Sarah was saying, yeah, it's a bit slow on the systems today. So yeah, thanks everyone for coming today. I just want to talk a little bit first about loneliness, and then like Sarah said, later on I'll talk a bit about how befriending can help impact it as well. So definition of loneliness, really, let's start off with that. It's the feeling of being alone, obviously, disconnected or lacking meaningful social relationships. So it's not just like, being by yourself. It's all different things, and it can be different things to different people. So it is subjective. You can still be surrounded by lots of people and still feel alone. I know in befriending, we do see people who are living with family members, but they're all busy, they're all out. So they do still feel very lonely, even though they have got people coming in and out of the home. There are all different types of loneliness. So we have, like I said, people can experience it in different ways because everybody's different, but you can get emotional loneliness. So that's a lack of emotional attachment, and that can be within a relationship or even things at work as well. Social loneliness, so that's a lack of friends, or people that we feel connected to. Existential loneliness, sorry, keep my teeth in, a sense of being in a room of people, and still feeling alone. Like I just spoke about, we befriend a lot of people who are surrounded by people but don't feel connected to them. And some people are experiencing loneliness occasionally. So around Christmas, we get a lot of referrals because people feel it a bit more because they see all the sort of advertisements or people talking about their plans for Christmas, or weekends or weekdays. So while others feel lonely all the time, some people feel lonely sometimes, occasionally. So if it's all the time, we call that chronic loneliness. And if it's occasionally, we call it loneliness occasionally. Okay. So there are a lot of risk factors for loneliness, especially with health. Most of us do feel lonely at some time. It can be, you know, students going away to university for the first time. Maybe if you're moving to London, you might feel a bit lonely. But research shows that some personal characteristics, social and structural factors, and certain life events can be risk factors for loneliness. During the COVID-19 pandemic, risk factors compounded experiences of loneliness. So the lockdown especially brought out a lot of people's sort of fears about being alone and being disconnected. The Campaign to End Loneliness Beyond COVID-19 report found that although the social restrictions were universal, the impact on loneliness was highly unequal and intensified existing inequalities. So in the report, and I'll give you a link at the end to actually, you can actually go and read the report, it's really interesting, but they found that younger people 16 to 24, were especially vulnerable. Older people, we know that of course in befriending, older people again were at high risk of becoming isolated and lonely, and also women. They targeted things like young mums, first-time mums, also people who may be experiencing issues like domestic violence. They all are experiencing loneliness because they don't feel maybe safe to connect with people. There are signs and symptoms that you can look out for. We often talk about maybe feeling disconnected, not feeling connected, but there are actually physical symptoms of loneliness and it can affect people's behaviour. So, you know, if you are worried about somebody or if you feel like you may be feeling lonely, it's, you know, there are things you can look out for or symptoms you can look out for that may indicate that you are lonely and you can reach out for help. So you may, for instance, get nervous about or avoid going to social events. People might think that's social anxiety, but that could be a case of you're being alone for a long time or not used to going out and engaging socially, so that makes you more isolated and it's a cycle that makes you feel more lonely. You may change your daily routines, like you stop cooking for yourself. You might be neglectful about caring for yourself, about looking after your appearance or getting up early or going to bed late. You might have, you know, sleeping problems. You might find it difficult to get to sleep or stay asleep. These are all indicators that maybe you are feeling a bit lonely. Loneliness in our health is a very important factor to remind you about, because in the next slide I'll show you how it can impact your health physically and mentally. But if it lasts for a very long time, it can heighten some physical conditions such as dementia and mental health conditions like anxiety or depression, and cause them to worsen. So we have to really stress how important it is that if you are feeling lonely, it can impact other aspects of your health. So if we look at loneliness and health and the impacts it can make on mental health, it's strongly linked to increased rates of depression and anxiety, cognitive decline and dementia. We see in befriending quite a few people who are living with dementia, and we know that for a lot of people, being connected, being sociable can actually improve people's dementia symptoms and slow down the rate of the dementia symptoms becoming worse. It also impacts suicidal thoughts and behaviours. So it might increase people's rates of suicidal thoughts. And sleep disturbances, like I talked about, you know, you may not have enough sleep and that can cause you to become even more depressed and more feel more lonely. There are actually physical health impacts of feeling lonely as well. It does actually impact you or affect you physically. So cardiovascular disease, there's a higher risk of heart disease, stroke and other cardiovascular problems. If you see in the little sort of image that's there, it can be as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. And that's actually been research that's been done in 2015. And people who were found to be alone have similar aspects of somebody who smokes, physical aspects of somebody who smokes. It can weaken your immune system, so it makes it harder to get over illnesses, or like simple things like colds can be affected by loneliness. Obesity, so you may feel that you're alone and a bit more depressed, so you have unhealthy eating habits and reduced physical activity, you're not going out as much, not investing in yourself to do exercise, and this increases the risk of obesity. Then there's also the link with diabetes, so it's links to higher rates of developing type 2 diabetes, and also increased stress. So it can trigger stress responses leading to elevated cortisol levels and potentially impacting other health conditions. So there's all this research that does show us that loneliness is actually a big health issue, physically and mentally as well. That's why it's very important that we can address it as soon as possible. How do we look out for loneliness? Because it can be difficult to spot. Some people can mask it really well, that they're not maybe showing all the symptoms I talked about. So it can be different for everybody, as feelings of loneliness are personal. So, and we live in a technological age, so social media and technology can make it easy to hide emotions and limit social interactions and avoid real and meaningful conversations. So people who experience loneliness often don't want to say how they feel. So if you are feeling lonely, it can be daunting to actually ask for help when we most need it. So that's why it's really great that people are coming together and talking about loneliness and loneliness awareness. So asking people if they feel lonely can seem difficult, and we might be tempted to avoid using the words lonely or loneliness, but if the conversation is sensitively approached, people can be reassured that loneliness can be experienced at any stage of our lives, so it's fine to talk about it and to address it. Having a conversation with somebody about feeling lonely, or talking to somebody who you feel like might be lonely, is something that we could do quite simply. Like, we can go out and do that today, and we can then show them how they can feel a bit more connected. And there are lots of resources in Hackney that can actually help people feel more connected and have more meaningful relationships. So coming together like this and sharing things like this are great changes that we can make in society that can help people feel a bit more connected and reconnect with the community and feel less lonely. So that's the first part that I wanted to talk to you about loneliness. And I'll hand it back to Sarah, so we can talk a little bit more about things that you can do to actually, help sort of like impact loneliness for people.
Thank you, Bridget.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing, sorry.
That's okay. A very interesting presentation. It was interesting for me, especially at the start, to hear the distinction between the different levels of loneliness. I never thought about loneliness in this way. And it really made me reflect on how some of these elements can perhaps overlap in a way they were not always conscious about. Very interesting, thank you. Okay, so we're moving on to Pauline now, who is going to share her presentation and give us some really good ideas about what social prescribers do and things that we can do in Hackney to tackle loneliness. Thank you, Pauline.
Okay. Is everybody able to see my screen?
Yeah, yes, thank you.
Okay, so I'm from Family Action, and Family Action is a national charity that serves the UK. However, we're talking about Hackney, so I'm going to keep it succinct. So what do our services do? Well, we provide practical, emotional, and financial support via GP surgeries. That's where social prescribers are located. Not many people are aware of that, but you can find a social prescriber in every GP surgery in Hackney. And as well as in the surgery, you'll find us out in the community. I'm actually a outreach social prescriber. So we work with families and we support in various different areas and in various different ways. There's two elements to our delivery. We do one-to-one group work. So if someone has a situation that needs support, then we'll work with them on a one-to-one level until they've achieved their goal. We can also do that within group work. And we also use the outreach service to engage with those who do not necessarily visit their GP surgeries, because we find that a lot of unrepresentative groups do not necessarily want to go to their GP surgery. But if we approach them in the communities, like in libraries, community centres, etc., they do really appreciate that level of support. So who is it for? Who's the support for? Well, for the socially isolated, people that attend their GPs frequently, but find that it's not a medical issue that they have, it's more a social issue, and they're unsure of how to access services or activities within the community. And that's how we support them. We support them with non-clinical activities. So what type of activities do we do? Well, it's a variety, really. There's community drop-in sessions, art, music, cookery, etc. There are physical activities where we can direct people to as well. And that's a range of things, whether it be gym, yoga, walking, swimming. We also give advice about financial support, how to access available funding. We also help with the cost of living, etc. Again, mental health and well-being, we can also support people with that. And if we cannot physically do something ourselves, you will always be referred or signposted to areas that can also support with that, which also includes education and volunteering. Okay, so how do we access various activities in Hackney? Well, I've got a number of things here. I'm going to click on this one and pray that it just opens up. Right. So this is lunch clubs in Hackney. And although it says for people over 55, it's not just for people over 55. We find various age groups do go. And what generally happens is the younger people do end up actually volunteering and helping out. So let me just go through this a bit more. It's 12 lunch clubs, and they're based around Hackney. And I'm scrolling through it very quickly because I know I haven't got that long. But it's just to show you what's on offer. So there's Chats Lunch Club, which serves the Caribbean community, but not just, essentially. Again, we have another organization. They're based in Lesbian Road, and this is an elderly organization. There's also support for the Chinese and Vietnamese community. And we have the Cypriot community as well. And they're based in Dalston, Ballspond Road. We have the Turkish community and so on and so forth. Holly Street is a luncheon club as well. And they're based at the Mary Lloyd Centre. The Mary Lloyd Centre is quite an active hub that actually houses a number of organizations under one umbrella. And with these lunch clubs, you do have to book ahead for some of them, but not all of them. There's also a club for the Jewish community, will be down, offer a luncheon club, which is general, open to everybody. Again, Nightingale Luncheon Club, that's general as well. And the list goes on. There's a Muslim, the North London Muslim Community Centre, Vietnamese, etc. And the list goes on and on. We've got Uprising, we've got the Gascoigne Centre as well. And some of these centres are drop-in. Some of them you have to book ahead. We've got the Posh Club as well. So there are a variety of services within the community for young and mature. I'm just going to come out of there for a moment. Sorry. So the booklet that I've just showed you is available from your libraries, and it can also be obtained from Hackney CVS, which is in Dalston. Okay, and then we have exercises via Mrs. Independent. This is based for or aimed at the elderly with various timetables that's available. There's dance, Pilates, chair-based exercises, etc. And they're free to attend, but they do ask people to make a donation. And it's funded by the National Lottery, etc., etc. And they are also based within the Mary Lloyd Centre. So it's quite accessible for everyone to use. They also offer a home exercise service for those that are not able to get out. Walking together is a good way of meeting other people, getting together. You know, you don't have to really commit to anything. And this is available online. The information is available online, but it's also available via your libraries as well. And it has a list of the days and the times of when these walks take place. And it does take into account people that have various health issues, because although walking is a great thing for us, some of us have to do it at a moderate pace. And what I like about this is that it gives you the date, the time, the place, and also the person to who you can contact to make sure that the walk is actually happening and that you can attend. And it covers the whole of Hackney. So we've got Victoria Park, we've got Millsfield Park, we've got Springfield, we've got London Fields, Haggerston, Clissold Park, and the meeting points are very quite straightforward. Some is at Hackney Hospital, some are meeting at the cafe in Clissold Park, others meet at community centres, some meet at Hackney Town Hall. So it's quite accessible for people to get involved in the walking programs. And then we have the various community centres. Unfortunately, I don't have the link for Pembury, but Pembury is based on 1 Atkins Square on Dalston Lane. Now, they offer a wealth of activities that take place during the week. And again, it's quite accessible, easy to reach. And most of the activities are actually free. They do dance, movement, art, they have a sing-along, they do cookery. There's such a variety of things that they do, African dance and drumming and so on. Libraries are a vital place for supporting isolation because they have a wealth of activities that they do in-house, and plus they have the information that would be useful for you to find out about the various activities that are on in Hackney. And I can't stress enough that libraries have up-to-date information as well. The form that I showed you about the walking and so on, it's continually updated, and the libraries would have that up-to-date information. So I can't stress enough how important it is to go to your local library and also visit your local community centre. Go in, find out what they're doing, and on what days. Also, what I find that happens with people that are going through isolation and loneliness, when they attend these various activities, they start to join as a volunteer because it helps them to engage with others, and it, gets them out of the home. They stop thinking about whatever issues it is that they may have, and then they start thinking about others, and that does help to alleviate the loneliness. Being around others and supporting them actually also helps you with your well-being as well. Rather than bombard you with a whole heap of things, libraries, community centres, walking, lunch clubs, these are all places where you can find various activities that you can do and get involved in. Okay, so just a little bit more about family actions. If you wanted to get in touch, my details are there on the screen, whether you go to your GP surgery or to make an appointment to see a social prescriber, or you want to contact myself or my colleague, Shahada Abdul, our details are available for you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Pauline, for your presentation as well and for your ideas. I really like the suggestion of helping yourself by helping others. Put yourself out there, go and volunteer, and you will feel better in yourself. Thank you. I believe we are now going back to Bridget to hear about Together Better and the Befriending Scheme, and then we'll hear about Janice and her lived experience testimony.
Okay, hi guys, I'll share my screen again if that's okay.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, so the second part, it was really good actually hearing Pauline's part about social prescribers, because we work with a lot of social prescribers with referrals and things for people for befriending. So I just want to talk a bit more about community befriending. So we're based at the Volunteer Centre Hackney. We've been running since 2015. So we're in our 10th year. So we've grown quite a lot over those 10 years. At the moment, we have over 140 matches. So that's 140 service users who are being seen, called, or going out with 140 volunteers. So we are a personalised service, so we carefully match volunteers with people who have been identified as socially isolated and lonely or lonely, to provide company and emotional support. It's a free programme and it's for adults of all demographics. You just have to be living in Hackney and over the age of 18. And we can see people who have mental health issues, and we do provide face-to-face befriending, which is our most popular type of befriending at the moment, as well as remote support, which is, over the phone or via sort of WhatsApp or Zoom in some cases. So we get referrals from all over the borough from different sources, but we don't take self-referrals at the moment. So but we do get referrals from places like social prescribers, like I said, or GPs. And currently our youngest service user is 22 and the oldest is 102. So like I said, we see all ranges of ages, but also all ranges of different people. But the majority are referred to us because they are lonely or have been identified as being lonely, or may have depression as well. So this may be combined with other mental health issues alongside health issues, just physical health issues as well. So all of these come together to make a concoction of somebody who's feeling a bit alone, feeling a bit depressed, or feeling that they can't, like maybe a bit overwhelmed or anxious. And befriending can really help impact that and improve that almost from the first time that they come in contact with our services. So what are our services? What do we deliver? So our volunteers and service users are matched according to interests, languages in some cases. We have quite a few people who are matched because they speak maybe Urdu or Polish or Punjabi or different languages, and it's good for them to actually be matched with somebody who speaks their sort of like first language, because it makes them feel more comfortable and gives them more connection with the person that they're seeing. We make regular contact through, like I said, it can be phone calls or meetups, or it can be over Zoom. And we ask our volunteers to engage and listen. That's the main role of a befriender. And that's helping people to identify and set personal goals with them so that they can get the support to attain them. So a goal may be that somebody wants love to go and watch a movie, like to go to the cinema, but isn't feeling confident enough to go and do that by themselves. And our volunteers will go with them to do that. Or it may be just having somebody to sit with them, have a cup of tea in their home because they are housebound. Our volunteers are able to do that. So we match people with volunteers so that they can do things that will make them feel more connected. So in doing that, we build trusted relationships with befriendees, and we are able to also, go in and see what's happening with them, and they can actually tell us if there is an issue or something is wrong, and we can signpost and support them to access appropriate services. For example, we can encourage them to attend appointments or contact crisis lines so issues are addressed before it worsens. Just to kind of summarise this, sorry, I'm going to go back one. So sorry, let me just go back a thing. So really, we look at ourselves as a preventative service as well as being, a befriending service, because we can help people we can be a gateway to other services, and we can refer them to things like, housing support, adult social care. We can inform them. Pauline's right, a lot of people don't know about social prescribers, so we can get them in contact with their social prescribers as well. So I've got a couple of sort of voice bites that I've collected from some of our service users, because they wanted to share their experience of sort of why they are befriending. But I think my sound bites are playing up a little bit, so I'm going to try and stop them from playing all at the same time. And so you can hear them sort of one at a time. So
people that I used to go out with, unfortunately, they've all died.
So that was Antoinette, one of our service users, and she was telling us why she felt lonely, and really it was because she has no family or friends in the area. So we matched her with her befriender Nur, and so she's really enjoying it, and I'll let her explain why she's enjoying it at the moment and what they get up to.
Let's say that I won't go to groups because I don't like being part of a group. I'm a loner. And I don't like any group activity. I'll do anything not to have to go. You lose a lot by being like that. But I've always been like that all my life, so I'm not going to change in my 80s, am I? I really need somebody to go with me, not to be somebody I know. from time to time, we go to the theatre in Finsbury Park. We got a bit fed up because we've seen so many pups making pups. When you've seen one, you've seen enough.
The reason why Antoinette was talking about naked bums was that basically she used to be a head nurse at Homerton, and she said that like, you know, like literally she didn't want to, like, you know, keep working, so that's why she was talking about that there. I'll give you the last soundbite from Antoinette here.
What difference has that made? A big difference, because I don't have family. I'm in the UK on my own. So, you know, have somebody to talk to, not on the phone, but somebody that you can relate to and that you can moan to about things.
That was Antoinette's story. I have got another one, but I think because the sound isn't great, I will move on to just the actual other case study that I've got, which isn't a vocal one. It's a case study of R. This person will remain anonymous, but they were a frequent attender at Homerton University Hospital, so they were going into A&E a lot. And it was really that they admitted that they were quite lonely. That's why they're a bit bored at home, so that they would call the emergency services to come in, and they got to know the team quite well, so felt quite comfortable going there. But obviously that is not what A&E is for, and the resources that they were using you know, were costing the NHS money as well. But it was just that, you know, R just needed a little bit more company, really. So we were referred R, and we assigned them a befriender. We produce a wellbeing plan for everybody that we see, and R wanted to have really, you know, regular contact with somebody by calls and to meet up occasionally to go for walks. Their mobility wasn't great, but they still wanted to go out and about. So you know, we started doing that with him, and he was really happy with that. Now he goes out regularly with his befriender for walks when the weather's good, and has stopped using, you know, A&E as a place to go. In fact, he doesn't use A&E services anymore. So they reported that to us, that it's really great that he's actually doing things with a befriender. We've introduced him to Together Better activities, which I'll talk about a little bit later as well. And that's made a big difference to R, that they're using services appropriately, but they're also feeling less lonely. So it's really great. It's a great result that somebody's had a community befriender, and R, the quote that R says there, that, you know, they've met up a couple of times, they've done more than that since then, and, you know, and they get on really well, and that's made a big difference to R's life, not feeling like they have to, you know, call professionals. They've got somebody else to look out for them and keep them company instead. Now, we only do sort of, you know, visits or phone calls sort of once a week, but when people have that regular contact with other people, they do find that you know, they're looking forward to that, and that they know that if they are sort of feeling a bit down and sort of lonely, they have that to look forward to. We also try to introduce them to other activities in the community. Like I said, we do mention to them about social prescribers who can link them up with more things as well. And we also talk to them about our Together Better programme, which I will talk about in a second as well. The impact of the programme, so we can reach hard to reach residents. We have a lot of people who are classed as housebound, so they don't really have the resources maybe to look online or go outside to get this information. So when a GP refers somebody like that, who they may see on their home visit list, we can actually go and visit them, talk to them about having a befriender, and the befriender can bring things into the community. And for some people, if they are just needing a bit more confidence to go out with somebody, Antoinette said it's difficult to go out by herself, so she goes out with her befriender. This builds their confidence and helps them to become more active in the community. There is a positive effect, and we find that it happens usually within 1 or 2 visits. that people are able to talk to somebody else differently. It's not a healthcare provider, it's not a family member maybe, or somebody who they don't feel like they want to burden. So they can have a positive element to somebody's life, and we encourage resilience. We don't want people to be reliant on us. We want people to, take a bit more hold of their own lives, and have a bit more empowerment to do that themselves. And like I said before, we act as a preventative tool. So getting to know somebody, going to see them regularly, we can notice any changes with them, or and these might be very subtle, like somebody might be really active and going out with us, and then suddenly maybe they don't want to go out. When we go and see them, they're not dressed, or not looking after themselves, or still asleep. And this could be a medical issue, but it could just be like there's something happening in their lives, and they need someone to talk to about it. And befrienders can alert maybe their mental health practitioner or their GP about the person maybe needing an appointment or something like that. So our services are a gateway for so many other things, but the core of it is getting people engaged and getting people to feel less lonely. And if they are feeling lonely, they know what to do. There are resources out there that they can actually go and access. And having somebody, a listening ear, is like a first step to getting somebody out of feeling like, feeling lonely, but also a lot of the mental health issues that go along with that, anxiety, depression, they can all be addressed by befriending as well. I want to talk a little bit about Together Better. Together Better is another service that is provided by Volunteer Centre Hackney. It's another free service, and it's based at every GP surgery. Well, every PCN has a Together Better sort of coordinator attached to it. So it's, like I said, a free service that is volunteer led. So Together Better empowers volunteers to run free activities at GP surgeries, and this supports the NHS and helps people to stay connected and stay active. So a lot of these are group activities, which we try and encourage a lot of our befrienders to go along with their befriendees to, because it just gives people more things to do, and it can encourage them to be a bit more independent as well. It's really easy to access this service. Like I said, it's based at GP surgery. So if you know your GP surgery, you can go along and ask at reception about the Together Better service that's there. And they will probably direct you to one of my colleagues, one of the coordinators that are there, and you can talk to them about it. I'll give you the link at the end for our website, because you can actually go on the website and actually access your GP surgery. You can find out what's happening at your GP surgery there, and also the coordinator's name that's there. Our coordinators are there to help volunteers to run the activities, but they're also there to engage with service users or patients who are coming into the GP surgery and encourage people. So say if somebody is feeling a little bit anxious about going to a coffee morning that's happening at the GP surgery, coordinators are there. They can be there to engage with them and keep them company until, so it is kind of like a little befriending service while you're doing the activity as well. So a lot of the activities run at each surgery they're different, but the main ones that are included in every surgery are art and crafts. Always happen there. Fitness groups, including walking clubs. There's always a walking club at each surgery. There's coffee mornings, usually on different days at each surgery, but there's always a coffee morning. And if you are a registered patient, you can access the one at your GP surgery, but some GP surgeries, to say if there was a book club at one surgery, but you're not registered there, but you're registered at another surgery, you may be able to attend that book club as well. So it's always good to just have a look and see if there's anything that interests you in the other surgeries that might be nearby you, because you could have access to those as well. So in sort of the 2023-2024 period, over 6,000 hours were given by volunteers to do activities under the guise of Together Better. And this is a great way for somebody, if they are feeling a bit nervous about going to a place by themselves, There'll be a friendly face from the Together Better team to meet and greet you, especially the coffee mornings. They're always very welcoming. So it's a great place to start if you don't know, if you're not sure about having a befriender, but you may want to do more group activities instead. It's a great way to go and check them out. And you don't have to go every single week. You can do a drop-in, and you can talk to our Together Better team before you actually attend, and they'll be able to explain it much better, I'm sure, than I have, and encourage you to come along. You can see a little picture of them there, all smiling and happy, and they are really friendly and welcoming. So I'd encourage you, if you are looking for activities to do in the borough and are close by to you, check out Together Better at your GP surgery. Like I said, Together Better, they actually do self-referrals, so you can actually refer yourself online if you want to do that, or if you know of anybody who wants to do it, they can do that as well. Or if you don't feel comfortable doing it online, you can get your GP to actually refer you to it as well. So yeah, so it's a really great project, and I'd really encourage anybody who maybe doesn't want to have a one-to-one befriender but wants to do activities and things, or wants to engage with more people but not quite sure where to go, and it's free as well, which always helps, to go along and do that. They also have information sessions at a lot of the surgeries as well, so you may be able to speak to somebody from the Citizens Advice Bureau, or you might be able to talk to a benefit advisor, or a food bank advisor as well. So it's always really good to kind of like, engage with Together Better service. I've included these links because they are actually our links there. So that's our main link, because Together Better and ourselves, Community Befrienders, are separate projects, but we're under the same umbrella of VCH. And we also have other projects here. Pauline talked about volunteering being a great way to get back into the community and help, as well as being helped. And a lot of our volunteers come to us, our community befrienders come to us and say, look, I'm new to the community, I'm new to Hackney. I was looking for a way to kind of engage with Hackney residents and just get out there a bit more. They may have come to study, or they may have come to work and don't really know anybody in the area. And volunteering is a really great way to actually meet new people and actually connect. I've also put the Lunch Club's link on there as well, because that's another great resource, and Pauline's talked about that, so I won't. And I've also put the link for the campaign to end loneliness, because there's lots more stats and information there about their report. The Marmalade Trust is a nationwide trust, but they run the Loneliness Awareness Week. And they have a lot of great resources on there as well about other things happening, not just in Hackney, but in London, and things that you can do if you are feeling lonely, or if you know of somebody who's feeling lonely as well. But coming back to Community Befrienders and Together Better, our link, you'll see more information about us and how you can refer to Community Befrienders. It has to be like a health professional or a professional that does it for us, but Together Better, you can do a referral right there and then. Okay, so that's the end of my presentation. So thank you guys for bearing with me as I whiz through Community Befrienders and Together Better. And yeah, if you are needing any support, or if you are needing, if you have any questions about community befriending, or I'm quite happy to answer them now. But if we're short of time, yeah, please, you can actually contact me or the team directly.
Thank you, Bridget.
Okay.
That was very, very useful, very, very informational.
Yeah.
So before I open the door to questions, I just wanted to acknowledge one question that's been sent to me by one of you privately. Just to say that, Bridget, you touched about language. The question is do you offer interpreting services for people who don't speak English as the first language? And you touched into your presentation saying that you do often match people based on language. Is there anything else you would like to add to it before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, we always are trying to recruit as many different community languages as possible. And there is an interpreting service, I know, in Hackney. We haven't used it, but we usually are able to get a volunteer that we can use for interpreting, but we don't have an essay interpreting service. It would be more for contacting the service users that we have, rather than doing interpreting, really.
Brilliant. Thanks. Thank you, Bridget. Okay, so we do have 5 minutes left. Is there anybody in the audience that have any questions that you would like to ask to Pauline or to Bridget? Feel free to either put your hand up or come off mute and just speak.
Hi, sorry, I have a question. I don't know how to put the hand up.
That's fine. Go on, Ivana.
So I heard that sometimes that the waiting time for a social prescriber is a bit longer. And I just wanted to know how long usually the waiting times are to be able to meet up with a social prescriber, because I know there are a few of them that work across the GP surgeries rather than one per each GP
Yeah.
surgery.
That's very true. It can take up to between 2 and 3 weeks. However, outreach subscribers like myself, you can get to us a lot quicker than you can to your GP surgery.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ivana. Do we have any other questions?
Uh, I have more questions.
Go on.
That's fine.
Sorry, I live in Hackney, and I work in Hackney, so I have quite a few questions. But I was wondering, how can we ensure that like a more community spaces are added to these social prescribing websites? Because I'm part of this community organization called Castle Canoe Club, that it's always looking for new adult community users, and we are finding very hard to kind of reach out to the residents.
Sorry, was
Bridget.
that me? How
I-
can Sorry, can you repeat that
Yeah,
question?
so I was just wondering how easy is to get like a new organizations added to your lists for social prescribers.
Oh, well, just by making contact with us, really.
Okay.
And, then we'll add you. And we also have a third-party meeting where we encourage organizations to come along to tell us about what they're doing, what support they need, etc., what they can expect from us. So we do encourage organizations to come along to our third-party meetings, and we develop a relationship from there.
Thank you. I'll make sure then to email. Thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
just one more question for the Together Better. Are there any activities that are usually led outside of the work hours? Because quite a few that I found, it says that they're usually Monday to Friday. And if there are new people that maybe just arrived here, but they're still working full time, are they still able to join something, or it's mostly like they can create something for themselves?
It's quite tied to, because they're based in GP surgeries, they're tied to really when the GP surgeries are open. So there's no sort of after hours type sessions happening. I know that probably social prescribers could maybe signpost people to other activities that may take place out of opening hours, but because Together Better is tied to that's their kind of like space that they're in. Usually most GP surgeries are finished by about 6 o'clock or so. So yeah, most of the things happen during the daytime, I'm afraid.
Hi, Rowena.
Hi, I've tried to send you a message, but you don't seem to have received it. I think
I've
it sounds
seen it.
like-
Sorry, I was just waiting for them to finish replying to Ivana, and then I would have gone to yours, but you've come off mute, so do you want to ask your question?
Yes, I'm really pleased that from what I hear, because it's something I really need. I've been a volunteer. I've worked in the voluntary sector and been a volunteer all my life, and now I'm in a position where I don't think I can do it anymore. I'm old. I'm disabled. But what I would like to know is there anything you do for LGBT people? I know a lot of older LGBT people in Hackney, and where we used to have places to go, particularly women, there are no places to go, no places to meet. And, you know, if I go to any of these activities, I will feel very out of it. I'm not sure if I can go because I might not be accepted. And I think that's really stopping me from joining in the community, really, because the people I know are old like me. We're not going out much, and we just don't have anywhere to meet or what we feel are safe spaces.
Well, I know that just community centre has just slipped me. I can see it, but it's just slipped me. But the Posh Club, who are on that list where I showed you the Hackney lunch clubs, the Posh Club is a monthly gathering that takes place at St Paul's Church in Stoke Newington. They meet on a monthly basis. There's also Hoxton Hall, run a number of activities as well. And the other one is on Chats Palace. That's the one that slipped me. Chats Palace, which is on Chatsworth Road. They run a number of events as well. And all those details are in the booklet that I showed you, the 12 luncheon clubs. When you scroll down, there's much more. I mean, this is the booklet. And all that information is on there, in there.
Thank you very much. That gives me hope.
Thank you, Pauline. Bridget, is there anything you would like to add?
No, I'm sure the social prescribers know much more than we do, because we're more kind of like one-on-one basis, so not really any group things. And I think Together Better, again, it's volunteer led, so all the things that happen at different surgeries will be volunteer led. So it may be maybe Rowena, you might want to I know you've worked for a long time, but you may want to talk to Together Better about doing something specifically, specifically, but maybe.
Yeah.
Something for you to think about.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you, Bridget. Are there any more questions?
Well, I have an observation. I didn't
Go on.
realize Together Better were based at GP surgeries. So I'm learning something today. And
I'm glad that you that for me, because so you can link up with them. So there's usually a coordinator there most days, but like I said, if you check out our website, you'll see different surgeries have different activities at them. So yeah, have a look.
That's really useful to know. Thanks for that.
And I am very happy as well, because this is the whole point of these meetings is to make sure that, you know, we can talk to each other and to the public and give each other ideas and support. So that's amazing. Thank you. Okay, so I would like to thank Pauline and Bridget for joining us today and talking about loneliness, the physical and mental effects of loneliness, and giving us an awful lot of ideas about things that we can do to feel a little bit less lonely. I am going to share the recording on our YouTube channel next week, and I will make sure to include all those links in the comment section, so that people, especially if you're watching this on YouTube, you can then click on the links and have a look for yourself and maybe choose and pick and choose what you would like to do. So thank you, Pauline, and thank you, Bridget, for joining us today. Thank you to all of you who joined as well, and to those of you who are going to watch us later on. I hope you have a good rest of the day.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.